Kendo Podcast episode 101. In this episode, I want to talk about the process of learning Kendo.
Kendo Podcast by Hiro Mafuji from KendoGuide.com. Thank you for listening. This podcast is about Japanese martial arts Kendo for Kendo lovers and supported by Kendo enthusiasts through Patreon.com. Thank you for your support, guys. Please visit KendoGuide.com for more Kendo information and how to support KendoGuide.com.
Welcome to Kendo podcast episode 101. Okay, in this episode, like I said, I want to talk about the process of learning Kendo, but basically how you should be learning Kendo if you're late starters. Now, basically, if you're a kid or if you're young or if you're capable of learning quickly, probably you don't need to listen to this, but this might help you to make your learning process faster. I've been, talking about to my students how they should be learning Kendo, and I thought I already made it clear. I think I did, but this is very hard concept. Maybe if you if you never played sport before, probably it's very hard to grasp. So I thought it is a good idea to break it down and then share it with you. Now, Kendo has we have the term of this. We have the term. It's called Mitori Geiko. Mitori Geiko is easiest translation is watch and learn. So you watch someone's Kendo and then you just learn it. All right? Or learn what they are doing and how they are doing it. So Mitori Geiko is very, very important. I emphasize on that at the dojo I teach. But if they don't do practice, a lot of people think, it's not worth to be at the dojo because I cannot do Kendo. Mitori Geiko is a very important part of learning process if you are, not only in Kendo, but in the sports. So Mitori Geiko is basically what you're doing is you visualize. It helps you to visualize what is ideal Kendo for you. You are learning Kendo, like, do this, do that, do this, do that, right? That's verbal explanations. And then maybe you learn why. Okay, so that's the theory part. We call it Li. That's theory. Okay, and you have to practice in order for us to learn this theory. Theory and our performance has to go together. So we have Kendo theories based on the application of the principles of katana, right? And we practice techniques based on that. But if you don't know exactly how you should be doing, when you read books, maybe you can see, okay, in Kendo you have to do this, you do this. So in words, we can see sequences. This first, this first, this first, this first. But you have to, most of the time, you have to do those sequences, those things in this sequence at the same time. So, these items are dots. Do this, do this, do this. You have to connect all those things all together in your performance. And then, in your performance, you need to know exactly what it should look like. This comes into watching. You have to watch your sensei doing it, and so you can clearly see what you should be doing. Okay, when you watch, you just don't look at your sensei or someone, whoever teaching you. You look what they are doing, how they are doing, what his foot doing or feet doing, right hand is doing, fingers, how they are using their fingers, and as a whole, how is his body or her body moving? How are they moving to accomplish this one movement? So that is very important to watch. Okay, that's first thing. Now, in your head, you visualize, you can repeat. So like video, you have a video camera, you have eyes as a camera, and then you have a hard drive, which is your brain. You store that image in your brain, or a hard drive. You repeatedly watch it. And then not only that, you should be doing it. Okay? Not when you play the video in your head, not someone else is doing. You are doing exactly what you should be doing. So, for example, when I watch my sensei, right, someone is showing something, right, I try to memorize, right? I memorize their movement. Okay, pay attention to their hands, pay attention to their footwork, pay attention to their body movements, and as a whole, how is he or is she moving? Now, pay attention to those details, and then you visualize, you clearly visualize that movement, the person in your head. Okay, and then you can play it over and over. Now you have to change that person. It have to be you. Otherwise, someone else is doing, and it's kind of okay. I have to be like that, right? No, you should be doing that. You know what I mean? So your brain has to still think that, oh, I have to do that, but how am I going to do that? If your brain changed the person, okay, you are doing it, so you know what you're doing. But there's a gap between that visual that person in your head and you. So you now, how can we make that gap up? Is that correct English? You have to close that gap by practicing, so you can be that person, which is you, in your head. So we don't like changes. That's because you're already comfortable with where you are, right? You're comfortable with where you are, but you want to improve. That means you have to get out of your comfort zone. To get out of the comfort zone, you have to experience what it feels like to be, to do the ideal Kendo. Okay, this is very hard. We are going to be better place, but it's still uncomfortable because we're not there yet. So we have to get used to that level. All right. So if you're staying here at the moment, let's say you are Nidan now, and moving on to Sandan, it's not automatically you just get there. Hopefully, that is like traditional training. You train hard almost every day, okay, and you have a bunch of sensei around you, and they tell you what to do, and you fix it. And if you don't fix it, they tell you more. You're not fixing this, do that, okay? constantly they tell you what to do, and then you have more time to change your kendo. And probably you want to change your kendo if you go train every day there, right? So you constantly train and constantly get the good surrounded by good examples. So it's easier for you to get there without thinking. But like us, outside Japan and not surrounded by good kendo, sometimes you can see good kendo, but not at our regular practice. That is very hard. So we need to be in that environment all the time in our head. The example is that I don't get to practice. I have a seventh dan sensei in Indiana, and unfortunately he cannot come to the regular training all the time because of his work situation. Won't allow him to come to the training. So sometimes he comes. We don't know when. He takes Jordan, so I repeatedly fight him in my head. Repeatedly, okay, in my head. How can I do this? Okay, of course I watch video. I take videos and then watch videos, but it's very hard to go against him. So what I do is I have to win in my head, right? I cannot repeatedly imagine myself losing. I have to repeatedly imagine myself hitting him. Okay, so then I just break down the process. This is a winning process. I do this and he does this. I strike that. Repeatedly, I practice that in my head. Okay, what if I do this? He does that. Okay, usually he does that. So this is a moment that I can strike. Now, I do that all the time in my head. Okay, millions of times. Okay, so, and then finally, but like I said, I don't have him all the time, and no one else takes Jordan. Only him takes Jordan around here. So it's very, very hard for me to put that image, right, vivid winning process into my training, my regular training. But when he comes, I execute that process. But of course, he doesn't move like I imagine. But it's trial and error in my head. Okay, I did this, but it didn't work. But I couldn't execute what I practiced in my head. So next time I should do it. So in your head, you need to have ideal kendo, ideal process of winning process, and then when you have chance to execute it, you gotta do it. Now it doesn't mean it works 100%, but at least you have this process. Okay, so if it doesn't work, you have to change the process, or you have to think about why it didn't work, because I didn't do it quite right. Okay, because of this, we have mental status as well. It's not easy to go against someone higher than you and control them, however you imagine. So it's okay if it didn't work, if it doesn't work. Okay, if it's okay if you cannot do it right away. But important thing is, you have a clear image of where you want to be, what you want to do, and then you have to keep imagining you do it. You are doing it, not someone else. You are doing it. Okay, that's why Midori Geiko is very important. That is a vivid image of what you want to do, what you want to accomplish, and then you have to keep that in your head, hard drive. You play it all the time, and then Good thing about our brain is we can change that person, right? We can Photoshop in our head. You are doing that, Kendo. For example, if you watch Kendo in Shiai, like in All Japan Kendo Championships, if you want to do Kendo like that, you have to watch Kendo like that. And then finally, you have to change the image. Let's say Takanabe Sensei striking man, but you want to be that person, right? If you just keep watching Takanabe Sensei striking man, that's Takanabe Sensei striking man, not you. So you have to Photoshop him to you, and you are striking that fast or lightning fast man. Okay? And then you are going to do something to accomplish that. For example, you have to learn how he is striking. So play the video you are striking lightning fast man, and then you are going to practice, slowly. Or when he goes in, he has this posture, and then he's reaching out his hand. So break down those, play slow. Okay, if you need to, you have to, just play one by one. I don't know what you call it in English, but slowly you just analyze how he strikes men. Okay, and then you learn the sequence of his main strike, and then repeat it in your head, and then at the same time you perform it. Okay, do this. Okay, and then put all together, you strike men. Right? That's why in old days, if you have sensei, your kendo will look like your sensei, because you want to be like him. He is the person who you are learning kendo, so your kendo will become like that. Okay? That is very important part of. And then if you want to learn something else, you do the same thing. Visualize. You want to make sure you record that movement or kendo, ideal kendo, in your head, and then play it again and again and again until that person becomes you. Okay? And vivid image will help you to learn details as well. So it's important for us to learn exactly how to do it, how to do certain movements. Tenouchi is very hard to do, but once you know how it can be done, you practice it, and you know the goal. Right? It's not easy, but you can kind of do it, at different level. So until you get that, that's fine. You just do it. That's a progress. And then you have to have vivid image of main strike, kote strike, how you should be doing, how you should be feeling when you strike, and you get hit, right? Hit by good kendoist, so you know how it should feel like. So you can give that feeling to the motodachi as well. So this is a good thing about kendo. Oh, if you get hit by a good kendoist, this is how you feel like, the impact on your man, on your kote, on your do, on your tsuki. Oh, this should be, how it feels like. Okay. And then you visualize how they strike and replicate that. Okay. Of course, you have to analyze. You can't just do it. And of course, you have to train to get to achieve that level. You might have to do a lot of, running or sprint. I don't know. What do you think? Do whatever you think it's helpful for you to improve or to achieve your ideal kendo. So that starts from Mitori Geiko. Okay, watch and learn, and watch and learn doesn't mean that main strike was good. You need to record it and repeat it in your head play it play it over and over and over, and then analyze it, and finally that person will become you. So just Photoshop that person really quickly, and then analyze what you should be doing to achieve you striking whatever the ideal main strike or not. Okay, so I think that is very important learning process, not only in Kendo, whatever you want to achieve. Visualize. So, for example, if you want to achieve, a more financial success, you have to visualize yourself that level. And then, of course, you have to get out. You need to do something to achieve that. What do you need to do? You achieve your brain. Tell your brain, I'm going to achieve it, and your brain. Let your brain imagine your successful self. All right, and then you should be going towards that. Okay, like I said, people don't like change. Everyone don't like change, so it's very hard to imagine. People say, "Oh, it's okay," where I am is just fine, but it's not good. So, Mitori Geiko is the very first step of changing ourselves. Okay, and not only doing, but changing, imagining, recording, analyzing. That's all included in Mitori Geiko. I hope this will help you in Kendo and also whatever you want to achieve in your life. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next podcast.